Oh no, we're up. We're up.
Oh, we are?
Oh, it looks like
Can
you're
people see
ready.
it?
Oh, here we go. Go live. There we go.
Okay. All right,
Yeet.
there we go. There we go. Yeet. Chat. Yeet.
Yeets in the chat. Yeets
Steve.
in the chat.
Yeet.
Yeets in the chat, y'all. Oh.
Yeets in the chat. How is everybody? Good to be here with all of you. I'm Con. That's Teshk. You guys know us. We're from Straight Shoot right here. And we're going to talk some wrestling today, my man. We've got a pretty stacked show for everybody here. What do you think?
Dude, I'm just happy to be able to get through last week and the positivity from the chat and the comments, and I think mine and potentially your stream saying, hey, are you guys going to continue doing this and carrying it forward, doing the live? People really received our entire concept really well. So first off, everyone who's been waiting in the live, I'm very appreciative. So thank you guys so much for being here for week 2. If you're in the chat, do not forget to hit the like button to help us build this up a little bit more. So make sure you guys hit that live or hit that like button and put some yeets in the chat. If you're supporting Man City, get the fuck out. Anyway,
you know what? That's gonna be the podcast today. Just yeet. Yeet City, man. Yeetalicious. We could come up with all these different versions of yeet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my man. So a lot went down on Raw last night, eh? Would you say that was like a very eventful episode of Raw? Because I would.
I think Triple H is just cooking up dingers right now, and this man is putting together some of the best AEW. Whoops.
Whoa!
Whoa!
No yeet. That's a no yeet right there.
Triple H is cooking up some of the best television we have seen in quite some time on Monday Night Raw, and a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on that, Con, and maybe you can help me defend it, because a lot of people are saying rinse and repeat, Judgment Day, Judgment Day, Judgment Day. Shut up.
Guys, that 8 months of storytelling to finally get to a War Games match is not bad TV. Look, I can understand what people are saying, all right? That we've seen this type of thing go down, all right? Yeah, you guys are right. But you know, it's building to something. And how long have people been asking for long-term storytelling in WWE? You have, I have, Willie has, I know Willie has.
Yep.
And guys, you got it. This is long-term storytelling. You might not always love the story being told, but it was a means to an end. They were viewing War Games as the final stopping point of this story, and they knew what they wanted to do. Triple H was like, I want Cody, Jay, I want Seth, I want Sammy versus my Judgment Day boys. And then we can talk about who the other two might very well be. Because that is our first topic of today, my friends. We're talking about War Games, and we're talking about the potential 5th member on each side. And we saw potentially the first one in Drew McIntyre after a crazy heel turn to end Monday Night Raw. So first and foremost, Steve, what's your thoughts on that?
I am probably one of the happiest heel fans on the planet right now, because listen, if you watched the Drew McIntyre when he was the Scottish psychopath with Dolph Ziggler, you understand how good Drew McIntyre is as a heel. That feud with the Shield and Ambrose, man, that's 2 for me today already. What's going on?
For 2. No yeet again.
No yeets. No, but like his heel run with Ziggler, and a lot of the stuff that he did on the independent scene while he was away from WWE was very heelish and very dark.
Yeah, Drew Galloway on the independent scene. He really became, he became the Drew McIntyre he is now. He became a lot more rugged. He growed his chest hair, if you will. He was no longer this clean-shaven baby face. Even though he wasn't a baby face, he had that baby face look, you know, just oiled up to the T and shaved, right? I don't even know. I'm starting to sound sus right now. But anyways, no yeet right
no
there.
Yeets. Eh? I think no yeets is going to be the trend of the show. Okay, let's run it back. But you're right. So what people need to expect is probably, and I said this on my stream last night, Drew McIntyre, with the way they are booking this, I will say it now, and we are 2 months out from 2024. Drew McIntyre is going to have the greatest heel run we have seen since Randy Orton 2009. I'll put my house on it. Randy Orton 2009 is arguably one of the biggest and best heel runs we have ever seen.
Do you think it's going to get as dark as
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But there's a turn to this, and we can talk about it a little bit more. Drew McIntyre is going to utilize the Judgment Day long enough until he gets what he wants, and Drew will be the cause of Judgment Day falling apart.
Okay, I can get behind that for sure. How do you think? So what is it? Is Drew McIntyre after a world championship? Is that the end goal for Drew, just to get back to the world title?
Oh yeah, and I think now we just guaranteed that Damien's cash in is a failure, and this leads to night 1 of WrestleMania as a triple threat for the world title. I'm adamant that this is how this works. The world title will be defended on night 1 of WrestleMania between Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest.
You know what? That's a really good story being told. So along the way, then we got to figure out what we're doing with Damian Priest's Money in the Bank.
Of course.
Does Drew screw over Priest from trying to cash in? Like, is that the start of the downfall? Like, is that the long-term play here?
I think a lot of people are going to expect Priest to try and cash in at Survivor Series, which I think something comical will happen, kind of like it has been already. Somehow something gets involved. Maybe Rhea Ripley tries to throw the case over the cage or something, and it just doesn't go. Something comical where it's just like, yo,
sit over top of the cage,
exactly, you know? And then maybe Jay catches it and yeets it out. You know what I mean? But we need a yeet counter. We need a yeet counter.
We do need a yeet counter.
But this is the thing. I think it's going to be a comical failure at Survivor Series, but then we've got 2 very dominant superstars and 2 dominant personalities that are now both heels, that are now going to feel that they are in charge of what is a no leader Judgment Day. Priest just announced that he is the leader.
Yeah. Which, by the way, wild thing for him to say like that. Holy. I thought Finn was going to drop him right then and there.
But here's the thing. Like any man, he had no balls to say it in front of his wife. And he had no balls to say it in front of Rhea Ripley. So just saying, he didn't have the balls to say it in front of Rhea, even in the backstage segment. He said he got hot.
Who needed to say like, hey, you know what, Priest? That was ballsy, but it makes sense for War Games. So you're the leader at War Games, which could also play if they lose. Like if the Judgment Day loses, this could be on Damian Priest.
Yep.
And maybe there's where the dissension begins even more. Maybe Drew McIntyre starts to show that, well, he's the stronger of the 2, and maybe they don't need Priest anymore.
Drew already did that just on his tweet last night after the show and saying, Daddy's home. Mommy and Daddy finished the show. Think about that, though. Mommy and Daddy finished the show.
So does that make Drew McIntyre Dom's Poppy?
We were saying off the air, imagine Drew McIntyre shows up on Monday Night Raw or next week wearing I'm Your Poppy shirt.
Come on, right?
Storytelling 101. Storytelling 101. So at the end of the day, imagine that. Imagine Drew McIntyre shows up and Rhea's got Mommy's on top and Drew's got I'm Your Poppy. Dom's going to be sitting there just being like a little baby, sitting back and forward in the corner, doing the Tozawa dance.
Okay, I would pay big money to see Dominic do the Tozawa dance, all right? I would. I'd take all my money. Yeah.
But no, and this is the case. This is everything that we have to look at now. Drew McIntyre is not going to go into a faction being a lackey.
You would assume so, yeah.
With how this turn has been built out, Drew McIntyre is not going into this entire thing being a lackey. Drew's going for the title. He's still sick of Jay, but that thing with Seth Rollins still eating at him. So now,
the thing with Jay, I don't mean to interrupt, sorry, but the thing with Jay is really interesting because up until the moment where he shook hands with Rhea Ripley, I was still thinking like, Drew is still somewhat in the right, like from his character. You know, he's not necessarily in the wrong and he's stuck to his guns. He hasn't forgiven Jey Uso.
Nope.
So like what he did made all the sense in the world. he screwed him out of a title, you know, and in turn, he screwed Cody out of a title.
Yep.
But it was going after Jay. And I love that little detail. And I thought at the end, I'm like, maybe Drew hasn't fully turned, you know, until he shook hands with Rhea Ripley. Until she showed up. And when they shook hands, I was just like, holy crap, this is actually happening. They're not going to make us wait another week. Drew McIntyre is, at least for now, tentatively in the Judgment Day.
Yep. It's a very, you're looking at something right now where you're like, the whole dynamic of Monday Night Raw has just shifted. It's there's no question on it. The entire dynamic of Monday Night Raw has completely shifted, and I think the whole roster needs to be put on notice for this. Because remember when Edge left and everyone was so sick of the Judgment Day?
Yep.
Basically going into Clash at the Castle, and they were like, "Oh, Judgment Day, God, they're so lame." Blah blah. Tell me now.
They figured it out.
They figured it out.
That's one of the best things, and I know this is going off on a tiny mini tangent here, but like that's some of the best stuff with WWE when it comes to factions. They don't always nail it right out of the gate, but after about 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, they start to figure out what that faction really can be. And then they add like this one extra member.
Yep.
And it happens all the time in these factions. I mean, hell, we're seeing it with Damage Control. We're seeing it with the Alpha Academy. They just add this one extra member that brings the group together in such a big way. It's really impressive to see what they do with their factions long term, honestly.
And sometimes the dynamic at the start just doesn't work. Like if you look at the New Day when they first came out preaching, and you know those vignettes with the choir and all that kind of stuff, it hit, but it didn't really hit well. And then they really came into their own, acting like complete idiots. And the New Day is one of the greatest factions of all time now. You know, and nobody's ever going to dispute that. I do want to address something. I just saw it pop up in the chat, and I'm glad. Thank you so much for reminding me. Drew has been very cryptic over the last few months on his Twitter and on his social media, on TikTok and Instagram. And everybody has been talking about it. The return of Broken Dreams. Now, I want to touch on this quickly because it's important. Because Drew with Broken Dreams was not... Broken Dreams didn't hit like it does now back then, but people still give it the acceptance and the respect that it deserves, okay? Alter Bridge and the guys that do Judgment Day's music have found a way to turn every member of Judgment Day's music into something special. Dom's, Rhea's, Finn's, because every time Finn's music hits, you hear that breath from the Demon Balor, right? Do we get, and I'll put this to the chat as well, do we get original Broken Dreams, or have they reached out to Alter Bridge or someone else to do a remix and a darker version of Broken Dreams?
I need to hear this now. I need this, man. You just put that out there into the world, and if it doesn't happen now, I'm gonna be a sad con.
So
like, you're gonna be a sad con too.
Yeah,
right?
I'll be a sad con.
Good to know. No, this needs to happen, man. It needs to go down.
Yeah,
like that. You're right. The remixes of all these songs from the Judgment Day have been incredible.
Yeah.
Why not do Broken Dreams? And he keeps teasing it, man. He keeps teasing it, and he's not delivering it. Like, even he just made a TikTok or something the other day listing his 5 favorite theme songs of all time. Number 5 was Broken Dreams. He just Broken Dreams. Enough said.
Yeah.
Like, come on, give it to us, Drew.
Yeah, I think of really dark remix of it, and I'm just putting it out there for the chat to like really have fun with it, and some people can tweet this out and all that kind of stuff. But I was just thinking, I was after the show, I'm sitting there and I'm like, it doesn't work if it's not remixed and a dark Judgment Day. So I'm just thinking outside the box here, but the Drew McIntyre turn is something that we've needed. But I will stand on my hill saying that this might be one of the darkest and most destructive heel runs that we've seen in almost a decade.
I'd love to see it, man. I really would. I think it would be great TV seeing a dark Drew McIntyre. Like, go as dark as you can. Go as psychotic as you can. He's called the Scottish Psychopath for a reason.
Yeah.
Let's evolve that name. let's give it a reason as to why he's a psychopath.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, let us know in the comments on what you're feeling on the Drew McIntyre turn and the joining and making Judgment Day probably the most dominant faction that we actually have now in WWE, because the bloodline's falling apart. Let us know in the comments. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are Straight Shoot. Our socials will be down below in this video. But like always, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Elia Punk, thank you for the 20.
That's $1. That's $1.
That's $1. All right.
Thank you for the $1, Elia Punk. Appreciate you.
What currency is that?
Not sure. All I know is blue is $1.
Blue is $1. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the $1. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. So
we have another topic coming up for you guys here. We actually have quite a few topics today, so don't think we're only talking about that one little thing. Don't get going or anything like that. We've got a lot of topics today, so we're going to roll right into the next one, and we're going to talk a little bit about the other potential 5th member of the War Games match. So take her away, Mr. Teshk.
Welcome, everybody, to Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast. Con and I are back this week after a very eventful Monday Night Raw earlier this week, and leading into probably the most exciting Survivor Series that we have seen in quite some time. And yes, I am putting it against the Bloodline War Games that we saw last year, which was great. We are going into one of the most exciting Survivor Series. I think I can actually say I cannot wait for this event. Con, we had a heel turn on Raw, and
huge heel turn.
We addressed that in our last video.
So go check it out, you fools.
Make sure you check it out, because this video has absolutely no reference if you've not watched the last video. And Con,
we're talking about the heel turn of Drew McIntyre that happened on Monday Night Raw, which was insane, him shaking hands with Rhea Ripley. But this leads us to potentially the War Games match that we're talking about coming up. And what happens if Drew McIntyre is on Team Judgment Day? That means Team Babyface needs a 5th member. And there's a few people who could fit into that, but there's one apex predator that I believe would be at the top of our list.
I see what you did there.
I think I might have gave it away a little bit. Mr. Randall Keith Orton, I'm assuming it's going to be that guy, don't you?
After what I saw with Cody Rhodes after Monday Night Raw, he cut like a bit of a promo. If you go look at the fan video, he basically said, "Oh, Judgment Day think they got friends. Well, guess what? We got friends too."
Okay. So
listen,
who could those friends be? Like, let's realistically break this down before we get into who we think it will be with Randy Orton. If it's not Randy, it's Kevin Owens, isn't it?
Well, Kevin Owens is technically suspended. So if Kevin Owens is suspended, that means Nick Aldis has no need for his services at this current time.
That's
which means Adam Pearce can go get a technical free agent that is unemployed technically right now. He's got like a, I don't know.
Would suspended be unemployed? I don't think so, right? He would still technically be a part of Nick Aldis's brand on SmackDown. Right?
Listen, I don't believe Kevin Owens is the guy. I don't believe Kevin Owens is the guy, but we had to throw his name out there because everybody was like, "Oh, what about Kevin Owens? He's Sami Zayn's best friend." Blah 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 blah. No, it's not.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed would you be if it was Kevin Owens, though?
Even though he's one of my favorite superstars in WWE right now,
even though he's one of the favorites,
2 out of 10,
right? Like, it's low.
Yeah,
I would not be thrilled. It wouldn't be the same reaction as to when Kevin Owens came out in NXT for the War Games match as the mystery person. Like, it's just not the same feeling this year.
That was a pop, by the way. That was a pop.
Yeah, that was sick.
Okay. Let's talk about. Come on.
Yeah. So if it's not those guys, it's probably Randy Orton. And Randy Orton's been away for a long time dealing with an injury. What was it? He was
back injury, had back surgery a few times.
Back injury.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's back to presumably full health. Hopefully he's good to go. And if so, he would be a perfect person for this team babyface. Now, think of the team that he has. He's got Sami Zayn. He's got Seth Rollins. He's got Cody Rhodes. He's got Jey Uso on his side. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what could happen in this War Games match towards the end of this conversation, all right? But that is a solid babyface team, is it not? Maybe one of the greatest teams that WWE could put together at this moment.
I don't think there can be any stronger. I honestly don't think there could be any stronger or as hyped unless you brought LA Knight over.
True.
I genuinely don't. You have the biggest names, and outside of LA Knight and Roman, you actually have the biggest merch sellers as well.
True.
All on one team. Yay.
Gotta get that t-shirt.
Hey guys, if you are getting the t-shirt, the link down below for the shop is like right here. So don't worry about that. Anyways.
Get it.
But yeah, no. So it is probably one of the most dominant teams that we've seen since maybe the 90s, where they used to put like all the heavy hitters, you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We're treating this like it's a big deal.
Yeah, like,
you know, we're not just throwing random people in there for a War Games match. This is an 8-month feud.
Yeah, man.
That is culminating in War Games. I love that. You know, yeah. It's been a little repetitive on Raws for a couple of months. Okay, big deal. We got the War Games match.
Yes, we do. Like, I look at this and I'm looking at our current roster, and I'm putting this up against that legendary roster of Kane, Undertaker, Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, and who was the fifth? Was it Booker on that team? No. Who was the
You're
fifth?
testing my memory at this point. Chat might have to help us
Chat,
out.
you might have to help us, but there's that iconic one of Vince giving the pep talk. Actually Stone Cold trying to get Undertaker to break character because he kept repeating everything.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah, that's right. That infamous promo. Yeah.
You know what I
think
mean?
You're right. It was Booker.
I think, but Booker wasn't there. I don't know, but I could be wrong, guys. Fix me, correct me in the comments of the chat. But no, that's the level that this team's at right now. Like, for us, that is the level that this team's at. And with Jey Uso being so hot, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins is obviously Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn going from being the uber heel last year to now being the uber face.
Yeah. How nice is that?
It's great. It's a whole
storytelling.
It's beautiful storytelling. But with Randy, the only thing that concerns me about Randy coming back is a War Games match is, next to Hell in a Cell, probably one of the most taxing on your body. And that concerns me. I don't like the idea that he's going to be coming back and taking those types of bumps in his first match. You can work the PC all you want and take every bump imaginable, but the second that steel chair hits your back, second you go through that table,
I wonder if we could protect him though, because this is a match where we have 2 rings. There's a lot of people in there, 10 people.
Yep.
There's places to hide. You know, I wonder if Randy Orton would be able to hide a little bit and just get his big moments. An RKO, nothing crazy. Like, I could see the biggest spot he would do is his superplex through a table or something like that.
Yeah, but just remember, we've got that middle bit of the ring that's steel. That divider.
Oh, yeah.
Just remember.
True.
But they did utilize that well last year to soften it by putting tables in there, which was nice.
Yep.
So it is one of those ones. Okay, fair enough. He could protect himself, but that one it was one of those things I had to mention because for me, it's concerning, being that, you know, you stay away for nearly 18 months and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to go into War Games. That's my return.
And just to correct ourselves, it was Jericho, not Booker.
Okay.
Jericho, Taker, Kane, Kurt, Austin. That makes sense. Yeah.
Royalty.
But still, uber babyface team.
Exactly.
That's on the level of what we're getting here at War Games.
Yeah. So we've got Randy. It's probably going to be Randy. The history is there with virtually, well, next to Jay, I think there's a feud with everybody.
Well, so if we go back, okay, so wasn't it the Bloodline that took out Randy Orton?
Yeah, the tag team with Riddle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they took out Randy Orton. So that goes back there as well. So the issues on the babyface side, and I love this for Jey Uso. He's trying to turn over a new leaf.
Yeah.
But his history keeps coming back to bite him in the ass.
Yep.
And he's having to prove himself time and time again. And he finally just proved himself to this babyface team that he's with.
Yep.
And now he's going to potentially have Randy Orton coming in that he's got to prove to as well. But I love this transition right here. So let's fast forward to the end of War Games, all right? Because all 10 people are in the ring. Everybody's in there. Chaos has happened. The bell rings, and we're witnessing a banger.
Yep.
How does this thing end? Because I have an idea in mind, but I want to hear if you have any ideas first.
I do. Judgment Day wins. There's no way they're going to do... And as much as the Randy return is going to be a great pop, I'm happy about it. I'm going to pop when he returns. At the end of the day, Judgment Day is going to win this. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. And it's going to be Dom or JD getting the pin. Okay?
Love it.
I'm just going down this road. It's just going to be a weird little situation where I think it's going to be Drew and Priest kind of staring at each other for some reason. And I think it's going to be Dom or JD getting the pin on maybe like Sammy.
All right. Like it. I like it. So Judgment Day goes over.
Judgment Day walks out. They do their thing. Listen, there's a lot of history between Cody and Randy here.
Okay, so we're on the same... Okay,
there's a lot of history between Cody and Randy here. I think, personally, because of that segment we saw last night or the other night on Monday Night Raw with Seth Rollins and Cody, Seth and Cody squash their beef and do a small handshake. And as Seth turns around, Randy spins Cody, RKO's him. There's your feud going into Royal Rumble.
Love it. Okay, so we're in the same mindset here. We're both thinking Judgment Day is going to walk out with the win.
Yeah.
But I think that the turn you're talking about there for Randy Orton is going to result in the win for the Judgment Day. I think Cody is going to get hit with an RKO by Randy when all the other baby faces are down, and Dom will just crawl over and pin Cody Rhodes 1, 2, 3.
Nice. Love it.
Randy Orton is heel. And now not only do you have Cody versus Randy, which could go down at the Rumble or even Elimination Chamber if you wanted to push it that far to Australia, but then you've got Sammy versus Randy. You've got Jay versus Randy.
Yep.
And then you've got why am I blanking? Seth versus Randy. You've got, there is 3 big feuds right there out of the gate for Randy Orton.
Can I ask a quick question, and chat can let me know. Have we ever had a fatal 4-way for a WWE or a world title at WrestleMania for the main event?
Yeah, so there was, what was it? It was Triple H, Mick Foley, Big Show, who was the 4th one in that one for the WWE title? I'm not sure if it was for the world title. I think it was for WWE at the time. You know what? Let's get a little fact check right here.
The only reason I asked this is because just imagine. I know I said Drew, Damian, and Seth. Somebody's saying WrestleMania 2000.
WrestleMania 2000, yes.
Okay.
That was the McMahon in each corner match.
So
you had Rock, Mick Foley, Big Show, Triple H.
Okay. So we haven't had that in over 20 years, potentially. Yeah. So now
that's a long time.
You bring Randy Orton back and you want Randy Orton in a title picture. Seth is put up against the wall, the broken back. Seth Rollins needs to get through WrestleMania, and he has to go up against Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Randy Orton on night 1 of WrestleMania. Listen, if you're gonna try and build this out, why not just go big or go home? It is Mania. It is Philly. It could be bigger than fucking Roman versus Cody on night 2 in like maybe Hell in a Cell or some shit. Like, I don't know.
That would be massive if they're able to do that type of matchup there. I think, that would make night 1 of WrestleMania must see. We know night 2 is going to be must see with Roman. Like, whoever he's facing, that's a must see match at this point, because he could once again retain at WrestleMania and continue this run, or somebody's completing the story. But I'm interested to see what we're going to get here at WrestleMania if we do end up getting like that fatal 4-way you talked about, or if it's a one-on-one match between somebody. Because, look, as much as I love Seth Rollins as world champion, there is a chance that he's not world champion going into WrestleMania.
Very true.
There's a legitimate chance he's not going to be. And if if we really built up a big story, as much as Cody should face Roman, Cody versus Randy could be a WrestleMania match as well. They could, if built right for the world title, if Randy say won the world title in Elimination Chamber, that would be a big story for WrestleMania.
By the way,
so
Randy does look good with a big gold belt on his shoulder.
Oh, he does.
I just remember back just after Evolution, those days of Randy walking around with that shiny big gold. And listen, I still think this one looks better than the original. I'm gonna say that, hot take, but I would love to see that around Randy's shoulders.
Yeah, it would look really good. But there is lots of options here coming out of War Games. All we know is Randy Orton is about to, if he's the 5th member, he's about to flip WWE upside down when he returns. And I can't wait for it.
Now, we do have to talk about one minor detail that we're forgetting about. And we have covered this in a previous video. We are in Chicago.
Look in my eyes. What do you see?
I hope it's not a cult of personality, I'll tell you that, because I don't think it fits. There's no story there. It's just a cheap pop. And I will be, you know how you said, what's your level of disappointment if it's Kevin Owens?
Yep.
If CM Punk shows up for War Games, I will be at about a -50.
Really? Hey,
I'll
like,
be furious.
not even a little excitement for it.
Don't care
if Punk is there. Look, I agree with you. I don't think it's the best use of Punk, and I feel like storyline wise, it's just putting him in there just to put him in there. It doesn't really line up. So I agree with you. I don't think I would be at a -50 or 500 or whatever it was you said for if he showed up. I would still pop. It would be a cool moment. But we're gonna talk about this in the next video. So guys, take a look for this one. But there's a certain someone who is maybe issuing an open challenge that I think could be a better fit for Mr. Punk.
All right, guys.
But we'll talk about that in the next one.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being part of this episode of Straight Shoot Wrestling Podcast. He's Conman. I'm Teshk. Socials are down there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are Straight Shoot. Don't forget to go follow all our social medias and make sure you're in someone's Twitch channel for all the shows. Doesn't matter if it's his or mine. Just be there and be a good person. Take care.
Yeet.
Yeet. No, honestly, I know we're going to get into the next video, but I'm looking at the chat. By the way, thank you so much to, if you're still here.
Oh, that was Nick.
That was
Nick right there.
Nick Beasley Wrestling.
Talk about CM Punk.
Don't worry.
Well, there you go, bro.
It's coming up. It's coming up.
A little bit of one right there.
There you go. Thank you so much.
But we're going to talk about him some more right here, right now. So let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast. I'm Con, this is Teshk, and there is someone from Chicago who might be showing up at Survivor Series. Now, we're not sure, but there's a potential here right here today. My man, Mr. Teshk, we're talking about CM Punk. What are your thoughts on Mr. Phil Brooks?
One of our last videos, I am not of the idea of CM Punk returning. I hate the idea of it, personally.
You said what? You would be a -50 out of excitement if you showed up in War Games?
Honestly, you guys see my reactions on my Twitch channel when John Cena comes out. I take my headphones off and I'm just miserable because it's just, I'm not a fan of it. I was at Forbidden Door when Punk came out. Actually, you were there too.
We were both there.
You were there too.
Yep.
CM Punk was hated outside of Chicago. And it felt like that every show you watched with Punk on it after that. My biggest thing is, what's the difference now that he has done everything he's done? Why does WWE welcome him back with open arms and put him into potentially War Games? I know we've talked about it and we're going to go into another avenue, but why? What is the point?
The point is he's a hot topic and it will draw eyes, and eyes equal money. And WWE, I know they're crushing it right now in terms of revenue. They are top they've ever been. Like, they have never done as well as they have right now in terms of revenue. But you can always make more. You can always have better business. And you got to remember, you got to keep the wrestling business exciting. You can't just rest on your laurels. Otherwise, you have people screaming for 8 months that the same thing keeps happening again and again and again, even though it's leading to a War Games match. So you got to think about the big picture when it comes to Punk. Will Punk draw money? Yes. Is there stories that you want to see with Punk in WWE? Yes. Could they drop the beef and make good TV? Yes. But is it worth the cancer in the locker room?
And that's the biggest thing. Like, I think we did get those rumors of Punk having potential, and these are just rumors, guys. These are just dirt sheet things that you hear online, that Punk had meetings with the corporate executives with WWE. Obviously, he's had meetings apparently with Triple H. Triple H has denied having those meetings, but like, it's one of those ones where, of course, as he would, because it's Triple H and he doesn't want any leaks. It's just one of those ones, Con, where I look at it and I'm like, is the juice worth the squeeze? I think that's one of the best ways to put it. Is CM Punk tainted fruit? Like,
he could be. He could be. You know, the last run in AEW certainly hurt his perception. But like, let's not pretend that perception of CM Punk wasn't there before, right? He has always been this guy. Everybody knows what CM Punk brings to the table. Yep. He is a passionate wrestler who believes his character is real in many ways. You know, everything that goes on with Punk matters to him, which honestly is not a bad thing for a wrestler. You know, you care about your character to the point that you want to see your character at its best. It's not a bad thing, but it has gotten him into trouble.
Yes.
It's gotten him into some backstage scuffles even. And it's got the boss in AEW fearing for his life, you know, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
If that was a thing or whatever, you know, we can get into that another day. So you're right. Is he tainted fruit? A little bit. Yeah. Is he going to be welcomed back into WWE if he shows up? Yes, I think so. And we're at the point with Punk where he's on his last life. You know, he's been like a cat right now. He had however many lives and however many chances. He's on his 9th life.
Yeah.
There's no more fuck ups for Punk here. And if he comes back to WWE, he's going to have to grind his way back to the main event scene.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I don't think he's going to be in the War Games match. But there is somebody else who is teasing someone that he wants to fight, and his name is Shinsuke Nakamura. Ooh. Could we be building up to a open challenge at Survivor Series between Nakamura and Punk?
I never thought of that. Like, honestly, like, I have been focused because of this open challenge that Nakamura has been doing and these promos. I have been so dead set on someone else that I never thought of Punk. But now that I think about it, two very good styles to go against each other, and a feud kind of like what we got with Seth and the similarities, as long as Shinsuke's still doing this Japanese like dark vignettes and he's not in ring cutting promos. I think him and Punk cutting promos against each other would be phenomenal. I like this call. I really like this. Yeah. I was hell bent that it's Karrion Kross.
Oh, well, you know what? And it could be. It could be. He hasn't been on TV for a while, so it could very well be Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
But Punk coming back against Nakamura. Also, if we look at like the little details, you know, where all the speculation started, one of the big ones was when Shinsuke Nakamura hit the GTS. Do you remember that a few weeks back?
I do, yeah.
So the tease has begun then with Nakamura, and he is constantly talking about someone who's he going after. And he mentioned in this latest promo something about hands, which, again, CM Punk, if you think about it, I know I'm reaching, but what is CM Punk's logo?
That's true. Well, that's true.
An X, right? So, yes, it's still far-fetched, and I'm not getting my hopes up to the point where I'm like, Punk's coming, he's going to be there. But I think there's a chance that it could be Punk versus Nakamura.
Dude, now you've got... Now I'd be excited for Punk to return. As long as he's...
I flipped ya. I got you.
Here's my thing. As long as Punk's not in the main event. Because this main event, as we mentioned in numerous videos so far, this main event is literally 8 months to a year. To a year in the build. Actually, over that. It's over that. It's nearly a year and a half of a build to culminate at Survivor Series. And in War Games. Protect this main event at all costs. If Punk was put into this main event, It would almost like,
He values it, doesn't he?
you know that picture and you're like, who's not related to the family?
Mm-hmm. That's Punk in this scenario.
That's Punk
here.
in this scenario. But putting him against Nakamura in a very aggressive, strong style match, which they both can do, because a lot of people have said Punk's style is very, very New Japan style, strong style. Like he can go.
He's an indie guy. Like he's built in as an indie guy, right from the get go. Ring of Honor indie style. He formed that. He was part of the reason Ring of Honor took off with that style.
Yeah. I'm all about this. I am all about a Punk return in Chicago for a good 3-month feud with Nakamura into the Rumble. You know what I mean?
It doesn't even need to be like a long feud. Even a one-off match, like feud would be fun if we got promos between the two and they played off their match and yada yada yada. It would be fun, but like it doesn't even need to be that. Like this reintroduction for Punk just needs to be far away from the main event scene.
Yeah,
he needs to be. I'd be interested as hell if he was the one going up, say, against a Logan Paul. Just saying. Punk versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania United States title, I'd be down. Yeah. I'd also be down Gunther versus Punk for the Intercontinental title. I'd also be down if Punk wanted to find a tag team and start going after the tag team titles. Like, there is money to be made with Punk.
Yeah.
I don't think it's at the main event scene right now. Definitely Punk versus somebody down the line for a world title will make money. But as of today, as of next month, 5 months from now even, Punk should be far away from the main event scene.
I agree with you on that, and I'm just thinking of how you get him into that main event scene, and I know we talked about it. I know I mentioned this the other day on a video that we talked about Punk not needing to be put in the ring to come across Seth Rollins. Yeah. And I think backstage segment talking about Shinsuke, and he just turns and there's Seth.
There's Seth. Yeah. See, there's money to be made.
There's money to be made. Okay, you've convinced me in this video, man. You've convinced me that Punk is potentially a good thing.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there then, and we're going to see what the comments say about CM Punk. Do you guys want to see Punk back in WWE? And if so, how would you reintroduce him to the world of wrestling here in WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment? It should be fun, man. War Games Survivor Series is going to be a must-see show for many reasons, but Punk coming back could be one of those reasons. So we'll see. We'll see, man.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are Straight Shoot a Wrestling podcast. He's Conman. I'm Teshk. Take care. Be good people. Yeet.
Have to. Every time.
Oh, guys. All right. I'm just looking at some. We're on. I think we're at 11 yeets now. I think Preston is keeping track over there. I think we're on 11 yeets. Hello to Ahmed. Hello to Joey. Willie, what's going on? Obi, what's good? Zach, what's good? Dom, Denzel, AK, Apash, I think that's how you say that. Hope everyone is doing good. As long as Punk doesn't act like a jerk, I'd be cool with him returning. Sweet. All right, guys. Interesting topic, kind of something that we both thought we needed to talk about. I'll do the intro here.
Sounds good.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a short episode of Straight Shoot. Con and I today, when we were offline, kind of getting ideas, there is a significant female wrestler that is getting a hell of a push, both on the main roster and NXT right now, and it's not Jade Cargill.
Surprise.
I am talking about Xia Li.
Let's go.
Now, Con and I talked about this slightly offline, and we're like, let's stop. Let's get this on the video, because him and I have two very different dynamics when it comes to, or opinions, sorry, when it comes to Xia Li. Now, Con, I'm going to let you run with this first, because I think my mindset on her is very different. So I want to hear, what are you feeling when it comes to her and this push that has almost come out of nowhere?
It really has come out of nowhere, hasn't it? We've just recently seen Xia Li start getting involved. Well, with Becky Lynch, that's where it all began. With Becky Lynch as the NXT Women's Champion, Xia Li wanted a shot. Becky Lynch said, "You've got your shot," and Xia's like, "I'll take the shot when I want it." Becky Lynch lost the NXT title,
Mm-hmm.
and now Xia Li is kind of left in limbo. Yeah, sure, she's going after the NXT title down in NXT, but on the main roster, we don't really know what's going on with her. But she is kicking people's heads in. She is leaving them concussed. And I think she looks like an absolute badass.
Mm-hmm.
I love this strong booking for Xia Li. Now, in my streams, we've been talking about concussions and how they're presented on WWE TV, because not long ago in AEW, we saw a massive concussion with Jon Moxley. And that resulted in the referee not stopping the match on time. And it was very messy, and Jon Moxley has since spoken out about concussions and how the referees and doctors need to do a better job with it, which very fair. The health and well-being of the wrestlers is first and foremost. So then people are now talking about this concussion angle and being like, is it the right thing to do with Xia Li? Because it's a hot topic in wrestling, and you don't really want to mess around with head injuries, and CTE is no joke and all that, but Xia Li has found this way to interject herself into these nothing matches and make them stand out because there's no finish. She just kicks their head in and they're knocked out cold and they can't continue. I think that is sick for the women's division, and we don't really have anybody who is a smaller badass like Xia Li, who could really be a threat up against anybody. So I'm a fan, but I'm curious to hear where you stand with Xia Li, because like you said, we stand on opposite sides essentially. So what's your thoughts with her?
I agree with everything you're saying, because so I look at us as wrestling fans different than just the day-to-day, you know what, I'm going to turn Monday Night Raw and just have it on. I'll pay attention to what I want to pay attention to and I'll click off. We don't click off. We read the stories. We read the characters. We look as in-depth as we can get. And it doesn't matter for us if a wrestler is marketable or not, or if they are getting fully over. We watch what they try. And some things like Madcap Moss, when they brought him back, they tried. They tried putting him with Emma. It didn't work, but we saw what they were trying to do.
Yeah, because the name was freaking Madcap. But anyways.
My biggest concern is, and it really concerned me last night, it was announced that it was going to be Xia Li versus Indy Hartwell in a one-on-one with Candice LeRae behind Indy. When Xia Li's music hit, it reminded me of when Brian Christopher returned to Monday Night Raw.
Really?
Go back and watch it. The crowd goes silent. And that's where I'm concerned, because I understand what WWE is trying to do, make her that dominant, smaller female competitor that can compete on the big level. I see her skill set, but I'm concerned that the 80 percentile of professional wrestling fans don't see it. The running joke, the crowd goes mild. The crowd went dead. There was more of a pop for Indy. And that's where I'm concerned. And it was kind of the same on NXT last week, where Xia Li came out and everyone's like, who is that? And then they realized it was Xia Li and they went quiet. Like and for an NXT crowd to go quiet. I had 3 buddies sitting in the crowd at NXT and everyone was just like, okay, like it's Xia Li, yay. And
so let me ask you this question, okay? Because like everything we just said, she's a cool character.
Great character.
She's a badass. And she's never been featured, man. No. Like, if we look who she's going up against, we're talking about her interrupting the NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria, who is so over with the NXT crowd.
Yep.
Okay. She's had some backstage stuff on Raw, but that's only really within the last month. What else has she done in her entire career, right? There is no introduction to Xia Li. She had an entrance, right, with like the lightning bolts hitting her. That looked cool, but that was there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything from Xia Li. So I don't think this is a position where it's like people don't care about her. I think it's a position where people don't know her.
Yeah.
And it's just going to take time. And doing things like having her kick people's heads off and causing concussions, going into a story with Becky Lynch and hyping up a match on Raw against Becky Lynch, that's a great way to introduce a character. It might not get over and it might continue to be crickets, but in my opinion, I don't know how you have a badass like Xia Li and not get people to care. I think in a month's time, we're looking at this character in an entirely different way.
I completely agree with you, and I understand, but we have seen this before with somebody come in with dominance, beat down Becky Lynch, and have a really cool dominant character, and the crowd just wasn't over it, and her name was Lacey Evans.
That's true.
So
yeah, that's true.
And they
Evans,
kept changing and changing and changing, and like we're not seeing the changes fully with Xia Li. She's stuck with her gimmick fully. But it's just one of those really hard ones where I sit there and I'm like, I'm concerned that come after Survivor Series, when she has a feud with Becky Lynch, it's either she has to dominate Becky Lynch, and I mean dominate Becky Lynch. Because if she loses to Becky Lynch, it's done.
Oh, she's done. She's done at that point, which I think she's going to beat Becky.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
I think she's going to beat Becky. I think Triple H is high on Xia Li. You know, you don't give somebody that look and entrance and time unless you think there's something there. So I think she's going to beat Becky, or it's going to be like a double count out or something into a big brawl and hype up another match. Like, I think that's the way we're going with it.
Yeah, because the other thing is, and I don't want to make this conversation about Becky, but I don't think Becky can afford a loss at Survivor Series right now. She's just lost the NXT title.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, she got beat by Lyra Valkyria. Is that how you're saying her name?
Yep.
Yeah. So she's just gotten beat by Lyra. She's come back to the main roster. She's gotten concussed 2 weeks after losing the NXT title by Xia Li. Honestly, she couldn't get her hands on Xia Li on Monday. And now, like, they're going to have a feud on Monday night. It's probably going to end. They're going to have a match next Monday, and it's going to be probably a DQ or something like that. Becky looks soft right now for being the toughest woman on Monday Night Raw, next to Rhea. Becky's the biggest name on Monday Night Raw right now, hands down, next to Rhea Ripley. You know, so I just think neither one of these women can afford a loss at Survivor Series, and it's concerning the way they're going about it. I know Triple H is high on Xia Li. I think the whole backstage crew, because she's got a good look. I like her look. I like her in the ring, but again, where that 20%, where that 10%, that see
That's fair.
The quality. I don't think the other 80% see it.
So let's look at big picture here, and you might be spot on with that, but big picture here. Becky Lynch was not meant to be in the NXT Championship picture. The only reason she was because Tiffany Stratton accidentally said her name. That's the only reason that started rolling on. So if we take away that entire NXT run, what was the story beforehand? She overcame Trish, right? She had a match with Zoe Stark, but there wasn't a lot going on for Becky Lynch, right? Nope. I wonder if 2024 is going to be about the redemption arc of Becky Lynch. And I wonder if the loss of the NXT title, a loss to, say, not necessarily a rookie, but pretty much a rookie in Xia Li, could lead to Becky Lynch saying she needs to win the Royal Rumble. Now, I know she's won it before, but could we be looking at Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, with Becky Lynch winning the Royal Rumble at WrestleMania?
I think that's probably the most potential we have in a storyline, because we actually saw the redemption of Seth Rollins last year, didn't we?
We did.
So I think that's actually awesome to say, you know what, that whole family needed redemption last year, and now we need redemption for the other side of the family now. So I like that. Exactly. My only biggest concern is, like, my favorite to win the Royal Rumble is Liv Morgan. So that's where I'm divided, because Liv Morgan needs that redemption as well. And she has been quite cryptic on social media lately about her and Rhea Ripley. A lot of posts of her and Rhea Ripley.
And don't get me wrong, that would be a great Mania match if we ended up getting Rhea versus Liv. The story that they are telling there would be wonderful, right?
Yeah, let's stay on topic, though. I think that's a whole other video, actually. I think that whole...
So we'll get into Women's Royal Rumble winner potential in the future. But you're right. Right here is about Xia Li and the potential that she has. So, yeah, I like what they're doing with Xia.
Yeah.
I think that they need to hone in on what this character is to get people hooked.
Yeah.
And if they're really going to commit to this character, they need a big win for her. And that win could very well come over Becky Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest thing is how the finish happens. Because I think the finish needs to be good enough that the crowd goes, holy shit, like she just beat Becky Lynch. It has to be a holy shit moment, or it's going to be like, okay.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel the same if, say, Rhea distracted Becky and then Becky got her head kicked in and then she got pinned 1, 2, 3. It doesn't hit the same. It almost needs to be a shocking, like when Becky came back at SummerSlam and was it SummerSlam or Mania?
SummerSlam against
SummerSlam,
Bianca.
okay. And she pinned Bianca Belair,
Yeah.
right? 1, 2, 3 in a quick squash match. You know, can you imagine if Becky's not taking Xia seriously and Xia just hits that spin kick, knocks her out 1, 2, 3? That would be a very interesting way to go.
I just thought of something. Injury write-off. Write her off till the Rumble.
There you go.
There's
And yeah,
nothing
they did just say that she was out with the concussion for a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not fully healed. She came back a bit too early, and Xia kicked her head in again, knocked her out.
Well, there's no premium live event after this.
That's very true.
Rumble is the next premium live event. So write Becky off for Christmas. Go home. Her and Rue and Seth have a great Christmas, and Becky comes back refreshed, puts on a little bit of timber, and off to the races for the Royal Rumble. But like, I just think Xia Li needs this. And needs it bad.
She does. There's no doubt about it. She needs this big win, and she needs to stand out against Becky Lynch. But they got something with her. They definitely do.
They do. 100%. Guys, if you like these videos and want to hear more of Conman and myself chatting about everything that is professional wrestling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are straight shoot. Everyone in the comments, take care of yourself. Be good people. Yeet.
Yeet.
Oh, God. David DeMonte says, could it be a timing issue, though, that maybe this just isn't right time to push her yet? I completely disagree. I think this is the perfect time to push her because there's really nobody else for Becky to go against. Do you want to see Becky Shayna or Becky Raquel or Becky Nia? Like, Becky Nia has been done how many times?
Yeah. Far too many times.
So, are you guys excited to see Randy next week? It won't be next week. It'll be at Survivor Series. Randy's not returning on Raw.
So let's just reason why I say he might. Okay, like, and this doesn't need to be a whole big discussion or anything, but I think if we have a open spot, say in the War Games match, too many people are going to be hoping it's Punk and be disappointed if Orton comes back. So I think they're going to introduce him on Raw, just to get rid of that hype that it's going to be Punk. I feel like that could hurt the pay-per-view if people are hyping it up too much to be Punk.
Gentleman's wager?
Yeah, why not, eh?
Gentleman's
Let's do
wager?
it. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm taking Survivor Series. Hands down.
You got Survivor Series, I got Raw. All right. We'll find out.
Chat, how about this? How about we'll put it up on both of our socials, both of our streams. Okay, this is what we'll do. Put it on both of our streams and both of our socials, and be like, whoever's right, the other person has to do the most. Like, we'll put like a poll up on Twitter of like a punishment.
I like it. One of those things could be that we get to tweet something out on the other account.
Oh no!
I get to tweet something on yours, or you get to tweet something on mine.
Done.
The winner of that. Yeah. All right, guys. You like that? You like that?
You guys like that in the chat?
If Randy shows up on Raw, I get to tweet something on MrTeshk's account. If he doesn't show up on Raw and then shows up on Survivor Series, you get to tweet something out on my account.
Yeet.
Let's go. All right, we got it.
In blood.
It's a gentleman's agreement.
It's been yeeted in blood. Or in yeets. All right, what else do we got?
Well, we have one more topic here, and then we've got a fun little video.
Okay. What's the final topic?
Tozawa. We are just going to chat a little bit about him.
Okay.
I don't know what you had in mind.
Give me 2 seconds, okay? I apologize.
All right. Sounds good. I'll entertain the masses here, folks. I've got you. Boys, how you feeling today, huh? You feeling zesty? You feeling mighty fine? Yeah. You guys enjoying this, by the way? Me and MrTeshk are having a great time creating these videos. And going live on Tuesdays just makes it easier, you know? Like, the fact that we get to interact with you guys in live time while creating these videos, and then you guys get to see these videos at a later time is pretty sick, man. I enjoy it. We're here every Tuesday if you guys want to drop that sub. And it's once again myself and MrTeshk. Hey Trey, how you doing, bud? Yo, who we got from my chat here? I see ISOJ. I see Willie. I see Dominic. How you guys doing? Ahmed is in here. Obi Gaming, good to see you. Bailey Reichard is in here as well. Viper does wrestling. He says, I'm feeling oozy. Yeet. Yeet. Everybody give me a yeet. All right, that sounded weird. I don't care. David Mons, how you doing? The Powa of Tozawa. Yes, sir. We're going to talk about the Powa of Tozawa here in just a hot second. Oh boy. Japan announced a press event for Survivor Series War Games in Japan. What? Okay. You love it? Let's go, Willie. Let's go. You know my W viewer right there. Trey says, nothing much. I'm just chilling. All right, my man. Not bad for a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, there we go. We got the yeets. There they are. There's the yeets. There's the yeets. Woo! We are moving, man. Yo, it looks like Twitter is enjoying the podcast as well. Guys, if you want to do us a favor for the last, 20 minutes of this podcast or whatever we have left, go over to my Twitter, Conman167, favorite and retweet the latest tweet. All right, guys? Favorite and retweet the latest tweet. That way we can get more peeps in here. Yeah, look at all the yeets. Holy, boys. Holy. Do you feel him, sir? Do you feel him? I feel him. By the way, let's take a quick little look at what's going on in that background right there with MrTeshk. Look at that SummerSlam poster back there. The pop figures right there. He's got a little amp in the middle or like a radio or something like that. Look at them LED lights. Look at how red they are. Red means dead. I don't know. We got ourselves the Lily doll in the corner, but you can't quite see that. What else do we have? Is that an American flag on his desk? Yo, is that an American flag on your desk or what is that?
It's
the
a
red,
Union
white,
Jack.
and blue. Oh, okay. All right. I was just looking back at it. I'm like, okay, yeah. Makes more sense.
Yeah,
Makes a lot
it's
more
not
sense.
my desk, it's a futon.
Oh, it's a futon too? Oh,
Or
shit.
no,
Yo, you got
a footrest. What are they called? Ottoman.
ottoman. Yo, you got the full-on comfy, cozy setup right
Oh,
there.
dude. So my stream has named, so this is Eddie Chirero. So instead of acknowledging the tribal chair was retired. He is now he's gone. So they named this guy Eddie Chirero. And then for Survivor Series, I'm busting out the big chair.
Nice.
So we've got the big comfy chair.
Well, it's the big chair.
Well, no, I think they went with oh god, I can't remember what my stream said it was going to be called last night. But they named it something oh god, something about Rhea Ripley or something. No, not the tribal chair. Something about Rhea Ripley. I can't remember.
Chair. Yo, Nick, he says, let's just turn this into the con show. Also, I'll be posting some vids this week. Atta be, Nick. Keep it going, bro. Keep it going. Thanks for the 5 right there.
You know what, Nick? What the fuck, man? Come on. I think I helped create this channel. I think I deserve a little bit of respect. God damn it.
No, they're just all about the con now.
It's okay. I got the same shit with the old guy. It's still on the secondary choice. It's fine. I don't care. Fucking hell.
Hey, you know what though? The best tag team in the biz right now, right here.
That is true. There's nobody really doing it better in my mind. So
we got this, and you guys are in for the early ride as well, which is amazing. This is gonna blow up in 2024. I can already feel it.
Exactly. And guys, just remember, last week I did mention it's Con's World now. Fuck off. Jesus Christ.
How to be Mars. How to be. Yeah, Bailey, let's go!
What is going on right now? You guys are killing me. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's probably going to start in 2024. We want to get a couple of solid weeks of doing this, but the radio side of things is definitely going to come to fruition. I am talking to another social media creator that does do the radio show every week out of Louisiana. So we will get the opportunity for that to happen. Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool, guys.
Boys, Big things are coming for Straight Shoot.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to it. So guys, thank you so much for everyone sending the super chats. If you really enjoy us doing these lives, if you guys haven't already, there's 43 of y'all in here. If you've not liked the live so far, please, it helps us so much. Make sure you hit that like button and share it on your Twitters and just get this started. Oh my God.
And another one from Nick.
Big
Dick Nick.
Big Dick Nick. God damn it. Love you both. I found your channel because of Con. Also, he started the business of live streaming. Ooh, boy.
Yo! Of live streaming. Nobody else came before Con. I'm the pioneer right here, baby.
Oh my God.
That is a big dick comment right there. That's what that is.
Yo, Big Dick Nick coming in with the big dick energy for Con. I'm just gonna sit right here and we're gonna clip that. That's going on TikTok. Yep. That's going as a YouTube short. And I'm sure there are going to be several large content creators that are gonna question that. But
who else started live streaming wrestling before 2016? Did anybody? I think Luigi did, but that might be the only one.
There you go.
So maybe Luigi's the OG. All right, maybe Luigi's the OG. But did she even live stream when I did? I don't even. You know what? We're talking about other creators. Everybody is awesome, but I'm the first. All right.
Can I ask something? Who the fuck is Luigi?
Yep. Luigi PS3, an OG wrestling creator. Let me look her up here. Luigi,
okay.
PS3. Where is she?
Are you guys going to do Guess the Wrestler?
Oh crap. She's not even on YouTube anymore.
Oh,
there she is. She's just shy of 1 mil.
Whew.
But like she was big in like 2013 to 2017. She was big. And she just like uploaded videos. So like what we do on TikTok, you know, with our reactions, she did that on YouTube back when you were able to.
Wow.
Yeah. And that blew her up. Like her most popular video, 29 million views 9 years ago. John Cena and Alberto Del Rio arm wrestle.
29 million views.
29 million views. Yep.
They didn't have the setup for money like they do now, did they? Back then,
they did.
They did.
It was more lucrative. Believe it or not.
She got paid then.
She got paid. Yeah, it was so like 2017. Put it this way, all right. I switched over from Minecraft content creation to create wrestling content in 2016.
Yeah,
and then 2017 I popped off. 2017 to this day is still probably so without my Twitch contract, okay, that 1 year I was with Twitch, that was my most lucrative year, 2017.
Okay, we're not gonna we'll get into numbers offline, but yeah,
but like that was my most lucrative year between views, between revenue and all that was 2017, and that was the YouTube ad system. It was nuts. Then do you remember a thing called like the adpocalypse? Were you around for that? At that time? So somebody on YouTube or like a bunch of creators were like releasing stuff that ads did not want to be associated with.
Okay.
And so in the middle of 2017, YouTube and their advertisers just all the ads got pulled. Everybody's ads got pulled. Everybody's like, we're not going to put ads on the platform until you fix these things. Mm-hmm. So YouTube implemented what we now have, and that cut revenue by 50, 60%. No joke. Christ. Yeah.
All right, we'll get into that more offline. We'll get into more offline, but I think I need to look up more wrestling content creators because I am the worst. Like, I know like our little bubble, but somebody had to explain to me the other day who BDE was.
Oh.
Like, dead serious.
Okay, yeah. So, you know what? Maybe one of these podcasts, we got to take you through wrestling YouTube and wrestling Twitter and all that.
I had to listen. I'll say this, and I'm fine with mentioning other creators in good graces on the stream, but I didn't know who BDE was. I didn't know who Alan Owens was or Alan Towns was. What's his name? Alan Towns?
I know him as Alan Owens.
Okay,
that's
Alan. I didn't know who Alan Owens was. I didn't know who JD from New York was until I got tagged in a tweet. Like dead serious, I had no idea who JD from New York was.
I'm just gonna zip that. I'm gonna zip my lid on there.
Fair enough. I didn't know who. Well, I obviously know who Stash Club is because back when we started this, it was us and Stash Club. But literally, who's OTRS?
OTRS. I'm not familiar with that one. OTRS. No idea with that.
Crazy Mike, before we go anywhere else, I need to see you acknowledge Conman167 with Roman's theme song with the finger high to the sky.
No.
We will get another gentleman's wager somewhere, and that will be one of his punishments.
Fuck.
All right,
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, it will happen. I promise you. Hey, I made Lana acknowledge Roman Reigns. I will make him acknowledge Roman Reigns. Listen, my liver is still recovering from that, but I outdrank Lana Banana on TikTok at Clash at the Castle, and she was forced to acknowledge Roman Reigns. That was the wager, and I barely did it because that girl can go, but it will happen. I promise you.
So does this mean we need to have a straight shoot drink off one night?
When I'm back on the drink, yes.
When you're back on the juice,
I'm doing 45 days sober. I'm trying it out. I'm 16 days in right now.
Hey, so, round of applause.
Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate lots of tea. But yeah, no, we'll get it going, guys. All right. Into our final topic of the day. We kind of went on a tangent, and I want to get to your questions. So, guys, everyone that is in the chat, by the way, Crazy Mike, thank you so much for the $5 dono. I want to get back into this, and then I want to get to your guys' comments. We are going to talk about the power of Tozawa.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's nasty. Okay, listen. First off, I have not seen a resurgence of a comedy gimmick like this since R-Truth left from Little Jimmy, kind of faded away and came back and did the 24/7 title run. So we're going 2018, 2019, 2020, something around there.
In a hot minute, yeah.
Tozawa's resurgence and how, and I don't know if you looked at it the other night on Monday Night Raw. Did you notice how many Alpha Academy pink shirts were in the crowd?
There's a lot, wasn't there?
Absolutely insane that this faction has just, from being two guys to adding Maxime Dupree into it and then bringing in Tozawa just out of the blue.
It's mind-boggling how good it is.
It's one of the most enjoyable segments on Monday Night Raw, and it deserves to be in that 10 o'clock hour.
It does. It absolutely does. And the fact that I love the dynamics between the group as well. Like, you've got the big Otis, you've got the Master Gable, you've got the hot Maxine, and then you've got Tozawa, who honestly, if we take a look at this on paper, this should not work on paper. This group should not work, but it's one of those things that when they are put together, they bring out the best in each other. And now we're mixing in like the Creed brothers with the Alpha Academy a little bit.
The New Day.
It looks like we're maybe going to get a tag team between Ivy and Maxine.
Yep.
Like, I love this. I love this group. But Tozawa himself, do you think that the Alpha Academy started being taken as like a legitimate group once Tozawa joined, or were they already on that like track before?
No, I think they were already on that track with Otis and Gable because of Gable's feud with Gunther.
Yep.
And Otis just being able to do it all for being a big, meaty man. Listen, I don't know if you've ever been in their Twitch channel, but obviously WWE's allowed a lot of creators or a lot of wrestlers to have their Twitch channels back. And Gable and Otis actually live next door to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they either live next door to each other or across the street from each other. They're close.
That's cool.
And they have a Twitch channel where they just work out and they shoot the shit. And I think once that happened, people are now paying more attention to them offline as they are in WWE, or online as much as they are in WWE. And these guys are just making the best of an interesting situation because they weren't really being used well.
Right.
For as skilled as Gable is, once Otis lost Tucker and then he had that kind of singles run with Mandy Rose, he wasn't the feature in that Mandy Rose thing.
Even when he became Mr. Money in the Bank, like everybody felt like he's not the guy, and he ended up losing it. You know, like he never got the chance to cash it in. They pulled the plug on him. It was Miz who took it from him, correct? Yeah. Miz took it from him, cashed in, became WWE champion. But he is the Alpha Academy themselves has been such a fun group to watch grow, and now they're the stable in the mid card that any heel can go up against, and it will be good TV for 3 weeks. You know, you now have Tozawa, you have Gable, you have Otis. You got 3 matches right there, 3 weeks of television, and you can spread that out if you want. It could go 6 weeks. You could do every other week, and there's a lot of benefit to having the Alpha Academy.
But you're also talking about spreading it out. They're spreading it out to NXT. And they're giving Tozawa that run, kind of like, I think this has been one of the smartest thing, and this is a video I think we have to do and write it down, about crossover between main event Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Because you're seeing Dirty Dominic Mysterio as the not Intercontinental, North American champion. You see Tozawa going down for what's the trophy called?
The Heritage Cup.
You see Tozawa going down for the Heritage Cup, and just there's stories everywhere being used for guys on the main event to come down and help build that crossover between the NXT talent to get more eyes on NXT. And I think the way they're utilizing Tozawa, and especially Dominic Mysterio, is Tozawa's a veteran. He's been there for 8 years.
He was around with 205 Live. Like, he was all about that cruiserweight division. He was firmly in, and a legitimate threat to add. Yeah. Like, he was great in 205 Live.
So now he's finally getting the fruits of his labor. And I really love that they're doing it in a way that still gives him that almost humanity and gives him that self like entitlement that he deserves, because honestly everything that he's worked, like getting jobbed by Rhea Ripley 2 years ago, like we've not seen an intergender match in a while, and you put Tozawa to just get absolutely obliterated by Rhea, and now he's one of the hottest topics in WWE right now, especially on Monday Night Raw.
And it's because he's being allowed to show his personality. He's going out there and he's just having fun with it. You know, I think back to when he was at his most over with the Cruiserweight division, with 205 Live. He was allowed to go out there and have fun. And that's when we saw the best Tozawa. And yeah, sure, you could say he's a little goofy, but like he's backing it up in the ring. Like he's not, he's getting beat. You know, like he's not winning these matches, but he's looking really good in them against people that he shouldn't look that good in the ring against, at least if it was on paper. You know, they're standing in the WWE where they are. Yeah. He's performing at a really high rate right now, and it's getting himself over to the point that fans are starting to cheer for him. Yeah. He's on 2 shows a week. He's on NXT and Raw, which is wonderful for Tozawa.
Yeah. And we can go back into this, and if you want to look back over a year. This has been a long-term booking, a long-term plan, because you started seeing those backstage segments where, you know, the Usos were walking down the hall and Tozawa would just come forward and turn and walk away. This has been going for a year. They have been planning for Tozawa to do something for a year. So everything that you see in WWE, be like, oh, that's a weird gimmick. Like, perfect example, Nikki Cross.
Okay.
What we're seeing with Nikki Cross right now might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen next month. It might not happen at WrestleMania. But there is something coming, and this is what Triple H loves. The 2 things Triple H loves to book: factions and long-term booking.
Yep.
He
loves it.
He loves it.
Triple H has this great booking method where he goes around, he says, okay, here's our main stories. What swerves can we have up at the main? That makes sense. Perfect. Now, how can we make, in a year's time, have stories that matter? And he just plants seeds all across the show. He's like a little seed planted right here for this rivalry. And, let's have this backstage interaction. Plant another seed here. And it doesn't matter if those seeds grow into something or not. but you have the ability to pull from it at any given time.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, if you're teasing a long-term feud between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
and you don't pull the trigger at WrestleMania, well, then maybe there's your SummerSlam match. You know, like you've got directions that you can go as long as you plant all these storyline seeds a year out or so.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones now that we see what Tozawa is capable of. I wouldn't be surprised if Tozawa gets a shot at the likes of a mid-card title or Dominic's North American title.
Interesting. Yeah, that could be the direction they move in.
Because it's really hard to see Tozawa go up against Gunther. Like, let's be real. As fun as it would be, one chop and Tozawa's getting chopped in half. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Logan Paul.
Hey, you know what? I was going to say Logan Paul could be fun if they trust him enough.
And that's the thing. That's where I was going with that is, do they trust him enough to go against a smaller guy like Tozawa? Yes, Ray's small, but Ray's a 30-year
Ray
veteran.
is also Ray.
Yeah. So now you look at it. I don't see it. The mid card is almost like a main event title now. Those two titles are so important, and that's where I'm almost thinking, like, do we need another lower title like the European title to come back? Or
you know what? Can I interject
Yeah.
right there? I don't think we need a lower title like that. We need a split of the tag titles. We need.
That's nor
Can you
here nor
imagine
there.
if Tozawa and Otis were tag team champs? Right. You know what I mean? Like, just something like that. So I know what the Judgment Day is doing right now is great. And like having both titles together is great. But for me, all I see is the titles are still two titles. It's Raw and SmackDown, right? And I feel like at some point we have to go back to splitting the tag division. I know it makes the tag division that much better because there's only one champs and they go on to either show when needed. But man, I just picture like all these lower teams, like the Imperiums of the world, the DIYs, Otis and Gable, or Otis and Tozawa, or Tozawa and Gable, like whatever way you want to run with it. Those aren't the guys that are going to defeat Judgment Day as of now, but they deserve a run with a title.
Of course
you know,
they do.
they're putting on good TV. I think of the Creed brothers who are coming up right now. I think of
the New Day,
Legado del Fantasma in the LWO, right?
Yep.
I think of we've just Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. They might be called up soon to join Santos Escobar. Like, there's all these teams that could use tag team titles, and it would be very good TV, but they don't have access to that because we're telling the story of Judgment Day right now.
And it's kind of like the frustration that we had with the Bloodline about a year and a bit ago, which I understand. But we also have to think of the significance of now we have two GMs. Mm-hmm. And I think after Survivor Series, there's got to be a negotiation of, you know what, the Raw tag titles need to be on Raw. I think after Survivor Series, the story will be going into Rumble. We are going to have the tag champions that are the Judgment Day work 2 matches on the Royal Rumble. Okay. There'll be like a tournament because there's no premium live event. Let's make a tournament. We need to separate the titles. Okay? But as tag champions, you get your opportunity to defend those titles. So there will be a bracket.
They start working double time. I see what you're saying.
There will be a bracket.
That could work for sure.
SmackDown bracket, Raw bracket. It comes up, some Royal Rumble, you defend your tag titles twice. Something like that, right?
Okay. So I could see them going in that type of direction, just double down on the champs.
Yeah.
That's if they want to split it. Let's say they choose not to oh, you got something more there?
I just want to get back on topic quickly. I just want to go back to Tozawa quickly and saying that a feud against Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Okay?
Yeah, it's true.
With they are both working NXT right now. They're both working the main roster. They can cross path. There's 2 factions there. So there's a story to build. And Tozawa could inadvertently get in Dominic's way when he's pissed off. It could be as simple as that. But getting Tozawa still able to come up, because Dom's had that title for almost half a year, 3/4 of a year now.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, he lost it very briefly to Trick Williams and then won it right back. But he's been the champion for the better part of this year.
Yeah. So you look at it, Dom can afford to drop it because he's proven himself. Now we can get Dom up doing something else or have him feud for another.
The question is then with Dom is like, what does he do? You know, like how do you elevate him more? Like, are you pushing him towards an actual other title?
But where does the Judgment Day go? And we've seen that conversation between him and Logan Paul. Logan Paul shouted him out at the UFC.
Yeah. So, by the way, eventually we need to see Logan Paul and Dom as a tag team. Has to happen someday.
Oh, that hurts to think about. That hurts to think about, to be honest. But it's there. The story is there. So, but for Tozawa, there is a title in Tozawa's future. That's all I'm gonna say. Somehow Tozawa is gonna get his hands on gold because that man has put in the work. He's put in the shame. He's been shamed so much as a jobber. Yep. And now they see the value in it, and it's kudos to Triple H because Vince would never have done this.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's so much going on right now that Vince would never have done.
Yeah.
So much.
So, guys, let us know in the comments. This is a very interesting one because Tozawa isn't your typical champion, but he has put in such good work. And let us know, do you think Tozawa is a future champion? What do you think of his workload, and what do you think of the Alpha Academy? He's Con.
And are you feeling the power of Tozawa?
He's Con. I'm Teshk. Like always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are straight shoot. And always be good people. Yeet.
Yeet.
Okay. Spawn Killer. That's been addressed several times. I'm gonna say thank you for the $2 dono. But the old members of Straight Shoot have moved on to do their own personal things. There will be features in the future of like them coming back and visiting and doing special episodes, but until then it is just myself and Con now. So
yeah, till then you gotta look at my ugly mutt. Sorry.
Hey, just don't look too far into his eyes. He might steal your soul because you know gingers don't have one.
Gingers will do that, right, man? Yeah, I need a soul. You know, I don't have one myself. This was an interesting thought that popped in my head that doesn't need to be recorded for a video, but the live chat can hear it and all that. When you were talking about like another title, I got this thing in my 2K23 like eFed that's called the television title, and it works similar to how the NWA television title works.
Yep.
If you defend it 3 times successfully, you earn a shot at the world championship. And WWE would benefit so heavily for something like that.
Absolutely.
Like, imagine it had to be defended once a week minimum, whether it be Raw or SmackDown. And then like, yeah, that would be great for somebody like Tozawa who could go. He could get 2 wins if he wanted, and then on the 3rd win he loses, and oh no, heartbreak for Tozawa. He doesn't get a shot at the world championship.
You know who that would work amazing for?
Who's that?
Trick Williams.
Oh my God, that would work great for Trick.
Because like it would be, you know, win 1 match, win the 2nd match. Oh, Mello comes out to support. Oops. Gotta start again.
Exactly. There's so many storytelling elements that you could have with a title like that, and it just something like. You have to win a few matches in a row to earn a shot at this world championship. Like, it just adds value to the matches you're watching.
Yeah.
And a TV title would be defended every single week.
Yep.
You know, the champion has to defend it. If they don't show up to defend it, they are stripped of the title. Like, something like that. Something super easy.
Absolutely. I agree with it. I love it. All right. Let's have a fun one. I know what it is, but I've not answered it yet.
All right.
So we're gonna
do a remove one from history, folks.
Eliminate one from history. Right.
Yep. Okay. Ready, dude?
Yeah.
All right, Tesh, we got one for you. Remove one from history. The Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, or the Hardy Boys?
This is probably the easiest answer I've ever had in my life. I don't even need to think about it. It's the Hardy Boys.
What?
Hands down.
Okay, you gotta elaborate that. What?
Happily. Edge and Christian, they did great as tag champions. They did great with the Brood. They carried their individual careers very, very well. And without them, it is there's a lot missing in professional wrestling. Okay. The Dudleys, ECW, they are ECW originals. They were great tag champions in WWE. And if you think about it, without Bully Ray, Impact would never have survived during that time. Without the Aces of Eights, the Aces and Eights and that whole storyline, that would never have survived. Impact would have been dead. Now, let's go to the Hardys. What have the Hardys actually done outside of being a tag team and those 2 TLC matches that they're well known for? They are one of the best tag teams of all time, but of significance, what have they done in professional wrestling?
Oh my God, Jeff Hardy is WWE champion. The
A
feud against
a lackluster run with a feud against The Undertaker.
Oh my God!
Come on.
Oh, I can't hear what I can't stand Jeff Hardy slander.
I'll talk slander about Jeff Hardy all the time because he's done it to himself. I'm sorry, Jeff Hardy has done it to himself. Matt Hardy, his whole that darkness character that he had, broken Matt Hardy.
It was wonderful.
That was great, but we also saw Bray Wyatt do something similar. You know what I mean? And without the takeaway, and if anybody wants to say, oh, but we never would have got the Lita Trish feud, how do you know? How do you know? Lita was with S.A. Rios before she was with the Hardy Boys. She would have still been in WWE. I don't think, and this is the hottest take I might have, and I'll get crucified, and I don't care. But the Hardy Boys have not done enough compared to what Edge and Christian and the Dudleys have done for the business. And I always talk about what have they done for the business. And the Dudleys and the Edge and Christian have done more for the business than the Hardy Boys. I'm not saying I don't like the Hardy Boys, but I'll say out of that 3, the Hardy Boys can go.
Well, there you go. That is a piping hot take. It's right up there with my remove Stone Cold Steve Austin from history. But let us know what you guys think about that one in the comments, and we'll see you guys in another one. What? That's a 100K viewed video right there.
I think I just brought back. I think I just brought back the common Steve L. No, I stand my ground on that. I'll die on the hill that the Hardys go.
Bro, I'm not gonna even remotely budge with it either. I mean, I said Stone Cold. Okay, so like the greatest wrestler of all time in WWE. Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Chat, who would you remove? I see some people saying Dudley's. It is a tough one though, isn't it?
It is a hard one.
Like legitimately, when you actually start breaking down what each team has done, like it is a really tough one to pick one to eliminate from history because it's their entire history gone. Everything they've done.
And the biggest thing is, like, I look at, like, Dudley saved two promotions. Like, I'll genuinely believe this. The Dudleys saved 2 of the biggest promotions, ECW. Because without the Dudleys, Paul E didn't really have much. He had Sabu, Sandman, RVD, and Raven. Taz,
Mike Awesome, Taz.
Okay, hold on. Mike Awesome. Okay.
In ECW.
Okay,
in
fair.
ECW, Mike Awesome was Mike fucking Awesome.
Okay.
No, Paul Heyman. I'm gonna disagree with that. Paul Heyman had the ability to get the best out of everybody he worked with.
True. Okay.
And so I think the Dudleys. Because, like, if you listen to anything Bully Ray says, Bully Ray will be the first one to admit he had no business being in an ECW ring. He was not trained well enough.
Fair.
He straight up did not belong in an ECW ring, but he learned how to highlight his strengths and minimize his weaknesses with Paul Heyman on the top. So, yeah, Tommy Dreamer as well was there.
Tommy Dreamer.
I don't know. ECW had a lot of things going for them. But you're right. It's not the same without the Dudleys.
It's not the same without the Dudleys. And then you look at their run during the Attitude Era and obviously creating the TLC matches and those 2 iconic matches, which were incredible. I will never disregard those. Even the feuds where the Dudleys were like those diabolical, like power bombing Mae Young through a table and all that kind of stuff.
The trance that he would go into.
Yeah, and then you also look at what the Dudleys did with Impact, because for a good 2 to 3 years, if it wasn't for the Aces and Eights, and that feud with Hogan and Brooke and AJ Styles and all of that, I don't think Impact would have survived, personally.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. Without Aces and Eights, I think Impact is either owned by somebody completely different now, and they just took a risk on it, or it's out of business.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it would still be here without that feud. And honestly, without Hogan and Eric Bischoff being there, just prolonging what Impact Wrestling had going on. Like, I don't think it would still be here.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk negatively about Hogan and Bischoff with Impact, and rightfully so, but at the end of the day, that was a dying company already.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is Hogan took what was the life's blood of, like, he gave it a blood transfusion. Let's just say that. He came in and gave it that old school mentality. The 4-sided ring was brought back just because he didn't know how to work the 6-sided ring. And he was uncomfortable.
Well, it was also because the wrestlers were complaining, weren't they? That they were getting hurt. They didn't know how to work it. It was too stiff. Like, it didn't have as much give to it.
Yeah.
People didn't love it. And I mean, it was just the identity of TNA. And I think that was their biggest misstep, like taking away the identity. Like, it was a 6-sided ring. That's what people were used to watching when they tuned into TNA. But yeah, it was just really interesting time there with Hogan and Bischoff, because like they came in, they had ideas. They swung for the fences. Not everything hit.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. So I think the other thing is, like, you can't touch Edge. Like, there's been so many iconic feuds that Edge has had, and Christian, for the most part, he was good. Like, that world title run he had was a kind of a good story, but he's come into his own over in AEW, and I don't think there's always been an aura around Christian. I think that's the best way to describe it. There's always been some form of aura around Christian that he deserves. So I just don't think you can touch Edge and Christian. But they're, for me, and I know it's just Jeff, but there has been too many negatives with Jeff Hardy at the back end of his career. And we can talk about Hogan as well. Like, a lot of people, a lot of content creators are uncomfortable talking about Hulk Hogan now.
Well, they're because of the nature of some of his comments. You know, it's understandable.
Yeah, and then you look at Jeff Hardy, like I'll happily talk about this, and I'll be the one that takes the bullet for this, but any normal person that is not an entertainer and that doesn't have the backing of a billionaire to help you out with everything would not be walking around the streets freely with what Jeff Hardy has done over the last 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
Okay. And that's where Jeff Hardy has really tainted my view on him. Matt Hardy, on the other hand, I think if Matt wasn't as injured as he is now, and as slow as he is, Matt could still be going at 100 miles an hour, but he's obviously got a couple of injury issues. Like, Rebby has not hidden it on their podcast, and she's mentioned all his injuries, and like his back shot. Like, Hogan said this in an interview the other day. What would young Terry say to old Terry, or old Terry say to young Terry? And that was, change your finisher. Doing a leg drop 300 days a year for the better part of 40 years is going to compress your spine.
Yep. It's just going to do it. Yeah.
Matt Hardy, how many times is he dropping off the middle rope on it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he took it another level up, and it wasn't even his finish.
It wasn't even his finish, but he did it every match, multiple times a match. So obviously you're going to have back issues. So I'm just saying, like, if I'm going to go into a deep dive of what my response is, there's so many exponential factors that comes to the Hardys where I'm like, I just can't. And it's not like a negative view. It's just you got to look at the big picture. And a lot of people say, oh, the eliminate one from history or all that kind of stuff is just for fun. And like that one, like I've been thinking about that one all week. And I won't lie. I said it to you. I said, give me this. I need to explain this and talk about it. You didn't know my answer, but you knew I was coming in with something.
It was certainly on take, boys. No, you know what though? Your explanation there, you can see why you got to that. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see the comments on TikTok.
I'll edit that one today, and we'll have it up by the end of the day.
Let's go,
guys. I think we are going to call it. We've run through everything. There will be some videos posted up today. And there'll be some videos through the rest of the week. So, like always, guys, thank you so much for being in here. This is week 2.
Don't mean to interrupt. Before we go, I want to cover this crazy Mike Dono right here. He says, we talked about this before, But if you're a champion, you should defend the title at least once a month unless you're injured. If not, then you got to vacate. And I think that's a wonderful topic that we can talk about in a future Straight Shoot podcast.
Absolutely.
So I think we can get into that.
I would love to talk about that because I'm on the other end of the spectrum. So it'll be a really good topic for us to talk about maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. That sounds good. Cool. All right, guys, that's going to about do it. Where can they find you on social media?
Guys, all my socials will be down below. TikTok, Instagram. I'm really pushing my Instagram right now. So it's MrTeshk on all platforms. Don't forget to give us a follow. And whatever the last video is, just say, found you from Straight Shoot. All you have to do is hit that comment. And Con, what about yourself?
Same thing. You got, I believe it's all in the description. If it's not,
it will be.
You guys can find me on everything, Conman167, whether it be Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Kick, all of that. That is Conman167.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much for always being here. And Crazy Mike, Ahmed, Denzel, David, Willie, Rich, everyone's been here. Leafs fan. That's questionable. Thank you guys for always being here. And we will